Hello guys, you just caught me doing a bit of kit, ready for a short session. I intend on the 7 tomorrow morning. I've got a couple of pints of bait left from Wednesday, which I'd like to use up. It's just maggot, that's all I'm going to use, maggots, 2 pints of maggots. I intend fishing the long whip, which has been a successful method on this river now for quite some time. I'll be using long whips, 7 and 8 metres. What I'm going to do is just run through the kit that I use, and you might be able to transfer some of that over into your own fishing. Without further ado then, let's have a look at what the prep we're doing. Right, we've got an array of kit here. I've already set a couple of rigs up. I've set up a couple of 1 gram rigs and a couple of 0.4s. Now the 1 gram, well both rigs, they're set up with strong outshotting patterns. The reason being, the 7, although it's a big river, it's quite shallow, and quite often you're loose feeding maggot, castor, hemp, and the fish will respond more to a stick float style presentation, and I'm able to do that with strong out whip floats. Now the float itself is a Sensus Alberto. Now, I've been using these a couple of seasons, and what I'm sold on is the fact that they don't tangle, which is really important. If you're using 7 and 8 metres of whip, the last thing you want is a float that keeps folding over. You have to keep adjusting it. No such problem with these, so yeah, very good. I put them onto the lighter ones onto Powerline, the SO 13. That handle's shot really well, and the heavier floats I put onto the Reflow Float Max. So the 1 grammers are on 016 Float Max, which is a £3. Again, I've chose this because it's easy to move shots up and down the line. So if I need to change the shotting pattern through the day, this line's robust enough for me to be able to push the shots up and down. I always finish these off with the reliable Kamasan V560. These have been out donkey's years now. It's a fine wire hook. They're a nice shape for whip fishing. These are 18s and 16s. 18s I'll be tied to 010, and I've tied up some 16s to 012. Moving on to the whip itself. Now I like to use an elasticated whip. Even though I might be targeting small fish, you never know if there's going to be an odd bonus come along. There's always perch around, there's some big chub, you could get chub up to £4, maybe even a barbel. So having an elasticated whip always gives me a chance of landing those bonus fish. Now what I do is I just put an hollow elastic through the second section. In this case it's a 6 to 8 Browning hollow, and I set it pingy. And the reason it's pingy is I need to be able to set the barb. So if you've got 8 metres of line on and you lift the pole, I want that barb set. But a good thing with having a shorter length of elastic, even a lighter hollow like this, is there's not too much of it that's going to pull out of the pole under the weight of the fish and have the elastic dragging down too far when you want to swing fish to hand. Okay, so that's it. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'll be up bright and early, and I'll see you guys on the bank. We've been fishing a couple of hours and it really has been good for such a bright day. We're catching some nice big dace, a few big perch as well. The most successful method so far has been the full depth 1 gram rig. As the day goes on, I expect to catch a few on the shallow rig, but yeah, it's been quite. A nice perch. To be fishing an 18 B560, so they're fishing an 010 bottom. Normally I'd fish a bit heavier than that, but it seemed a bit hook shy today. Double maggot. Okay, this is to always put your rigging downstream and feed slightly downstream as well. Just imagine you're fishing a stick float but with a whip. So when you fish the whip, try and always keep a tight line as well. A tight line to the float. Just imagine you're fishing a stick float, all the shots nice and pinned out. That's really nice. And lots of bites now. Small dace. Definitely this 1 gram rig has been the one today, with a strong out in the bottom third. It's been the best rig. I've not caught much on the 0.4. I had some small dace, but this has been the boss rig. Small dace. Feed and pull the rig back into the feed. Just let that run through. Just like that. Cock dace. Got a few of these bigger dace today. They're worth catching. Occasionally I'm putting a dropper full of maggot in to concentrate the fish up, keep them low in the water. bites are easier to hit rather than having fish spread all over. So I put that dropper in, put it in around 2 o'clock, so I can then run my float down over the top of the feed by dropping the rig in at about 1 o'clock. Double maggot's been best today. I've caught a few fish on singles, but I seem to want double. Oh, beautiful days. What a nice fish that is. Just a 7 metre whip with a couple of pints of maggots. Probably got 15-20 pound of perch and dace there. Some beautiful perch up to £2, big dace. Beautiful big perch. Great day's fishing.